Hi, my name's Paolello, and I'm one of the art teachers here at JP. I've been teaching now in Edison Township Public Schools since 1993. I started at Edison High School, I worked at Herbert Hoover and John Adams, and then I went to JP Stevens, and I've never left. My entire family actually went to JP Stevens or will be going to JP Stevens. My mother was a graduate at JP Stevens. My father, the school wasn't built yet, so he graduated from Edison High. My husband and I both graduated from JP Stevens. My daughter will be graduating this year, and my son will be coming up to JP Stevens. One of the funniest incidents we had in class one time was a kid came up to me. He had nicked his finger with one of the linoleum cutting tools, and he had a tiny little cut on his finger. So I looked at it and I said, okay, I said, just go wash it. I said, and put a paper towel on it, and then I'll give you a Band-Aid, because it didn't seem to me to be big enough to even send him to the nurse. But he seemed a little flustered by it, and he asked me if he could use the bathroom. And so I said, sure. And he left to go to the bathroom, and I sent another student in to check on him after he didn't come back for a few minutes. And the kid came back, and I said, how is he? Is he in there, or did he decide to go to the nurse? And he said, well, no, he was in the bathroom. I said, well, is he okay? And he said, yeah, he was fine. He was just sitting on the floor in the bathroom. And I was like, what do you mean he's on the floor in the bathroom? He goes, yeah, I just stepped over him and I came back. And I was like, I cannot believe this. And I was telling the story to one time, and one of the kids sitting next to me goes, that was me. So I really put my foot in the mouth. I forgot all about that. It was that kid who walked over and didn't try to aid this kid who cut his finger. One of the scariest moments we ever had was the whole family we were leaving for a camping trip, and we used to have a camper that we used to pull behind the truck. And we're driving down the highway, and some man comes alongside of the car and is like pointing at the car going, you're on fire. And I keep going, what? It's like, you're on fire. The spare tire underneath my husband's truck caught fire, right underneath where the children and I were in the back seat driving. And luckily we were able to pull off to the side of the road, and my husband luckily is a fireman, so he's always prepared. Had a fire extinguisher, put it out, but I don't know if you know anything about tires, they keep burning. So we had to get the tire off the bottom of the car and throw it off to the side of the road, and eventually we got to our vacation safely. But that was definitely scary and hot on the side of the turnpike. My favorite books are mystery books. I really like the series by Steg Larsson, the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl That Kicked the Hornet's Nest. Every summer I get a huge pile of books, mostly mysteries, and I like to read on the beach or by the pool with the kids. One of the most challenging aspects so far has been virtual learning for art. We need supplies to do art, and not a lot of the kids have all the supplies. So I actually went to the dollar stores around the area, I went to craft stores, I went to the grocery stores, and I took pictures, and I actually made a little shop on my Google Slides presentation to show kids where they could get some cheap supplies so that we could do some projects that are, studio based for the art classes. It's been really challenging to try to come up with really creative projects for the entire art department using a minimal amount of supplies. My advice to students would be to really pursue your passions. A lot of times in the art department, we have kids who really love art and do really well at art, but they're afraid to pursue art as a career. Everything around you is designed by somebody, so why don't you take the chance of it being you? The students and my children definitely inspire me more than anyone else. I'm always inspired to do more and to go after more things when I see the interest of the students and my children. I never would have become a 4-H leader if it wasn't for my children. I wouldn't probably have attempted to illustrate a book if I didn't teach it in class and see all the great things that the kids have been developing, and the kids who go on into careers into illustrating books. So the students and my children definitely inspire me every day. I definitely find nature and animals the most fascinating. We have a little petting zoo going on in our house. If any of you have seen any of the videos over quarantine, my daughter has a ball python, 6 birds that she rescued. In fact, one of them came from JP Day. Tailgate, sorry. We were standing at tailgate and a budgie from green and yellow flew right over onto the fence at the football game, and we took that one home, and that's where the epidemic of birds started. She started rescuing birds from the different shelters, so we have 6 budgies. She has the ball python. She has now a big collection of Madagascar hissing roaches. We have a big saltwater tank, freshwater tank, and my son has a blue-tongued skink. I think that's it. We always have some kind of strange animals running around, but we love to see their different personalities, how they react. I mean, you wouldn't think fish have personalities, but as soon as you walk by that tank and they think that they're getting something, they all follow it, they'll follow you. So definitely nature and pets. When I went to JP Stevens, my art teachers actually kept telling me, why don't you be an art teacher? Why don't you be an art teacher? And I kept saying, I am never coming back to JP Stevens again. I'm gonna be a graphic designer. So I went to school for graphic design. I got a job in graphic design, but I was teaching art on the side. And I really love teaching art to kids. So why didn't I just follow the advice from the beginning? I went back to school, got my teaching degree, and this was the only place that I really wanted to be. As my kids and I are always in the car running from a horse show to a 4-H meeting to goodness knows what, we're always in the car. So for music, we just bounce back and forth to everybody's favorites. So I really don't have a specific type of music that I like to listen to. We do a lot of the top 40, some country, whatever the kids are listening to. Otherwise, I don't really have a choice of the music selection.